back in the day, please give us a thumbs up and enjoy the video.
First and foremost, as you guys know the drill, we're going to 3 common mistakes. The first one, this is going to be opposite to all the other videos we make. You don't want to retract that scapula. This is the one time you want your spine completely bent. So you want to get that hunch even when you're lifting up. You want to hold that hunch because you have to consider you're actually trying to crunch here. If you have this retracted, you can't really get a good crunch. You need this forward to be able to squeeze into that crunch. And that is number one. As you can see, Kyle's doing it here. He's got his back very postured. It looks very awkward. It looks like he's trying to kiss the floor, and that's what you're gonna get, as opposed to actually trying to drive that chin all the way down to the knee and really get that big contraction that you're aiming for with this exercise. Number 2, guys, is trying to kiss the floor. This is the most common mistake because you're actually completely screwing up your range of motion. Think of a crunch, you're trying to drive yourself all the way forward towards your knee. This is the exact same thing, it's just a different plane of motion coming from the top. So you want to start with that back hyper-extended, and as you guys can see, I'm driving that chin inward. Looks a little silly, I look very hunched, but that's what's going to give me that squeeze. And then kind of like a 2.5 of sorts is to hold the squeeze. You need to play around until you actually feel the squeeze and you feel all of your abs being worked. If you're going too heavy, you're really going to screw yourself up because you're not going to get the contraction you need to make this exercise worthwhile. If you're going too light, you're not going to feel anything. You're going to have to rep it for days, and that is another huge issue. So really drive that chin inwards, kind of push everything down, really squeeze in that stomach and focus on that mind-muscle connection.
Common mistake number 3 is distance. I find so many people like to go way too close. By going too close, like literally up to here, it's going to be limiting your range of motion. And a lot of people think they're going to be working their abs more by going far back here. This is also going to be limiting your range of motion. So I highly recommend finding your sweet spot, making sure to get a nice squeeze, a nice contraction, and not limiting your range of motion, getting the most out of this exercise.
Alright guys, from the A to Z of this exercise, I'm going to keep it American even though we're Canadian. We're going to start from setup to finish. So first and foremost, there's 2 kinds of setups. Some people go high knees, kind of closer knees. That'll keep your hip upward more. I like this a lot better because I get a lot more initial hip flexion, which really helps you drive the force into your core. Whereas the people that have their feet really separated and wide, I find can get a lower range of motion. And a lot of people say to keep your butt down, but I recommend kind of keeping it up, but keeping your hips under flexion to where you can drive into the core, because that's where that whole exercise lies. Like even if you're just standing, you look a bit dumb, but you got to learn how to squeeze into that core. And I find by starting with that hip flexion and then driving inward into your core region, you're going to get an amazing contraction. So that's why I would recommend closer knees. If you do find wider knees more comfortable because your hips and get better flexion, that's up to you. Next and most important is your grip. You're going to get a grip like a Facebook grip. You're gonna grab on. Now here, I really recommend pulling it down all the way to the shoulder. Some people say head, but I find when you let it stretch and move, it's easy to start overcompensating by pulling through your arms with your lats, and that's not what we're going for. We want that right on the ab. So you're gonna pull that downward here, as you guys can see. I have it nice and close to my head. Now from here, I kind of get that weird little bend in the back, right? So that's a hyperextension of the back, which is normally a horrible thing in exercise. So this is the one time we're gonna run contrary to that typical rhetoric. But here, past that, I'm driving the chin inward, and I'm trying to put a lot of force on my abs and keep that all the way down to a huge contraction you guys can see. I like to hold and make sure I'm really isolating the muscle. Then on the way up, you're gonna wanna go to where you feel your abs nice and extended. Not overextended, you don't wanna go too high, that's another common issue. You wanna go just where they're fully stretched out and fully contracted, just like any other muscle. Just like a bicep, you extend, you contract, and that's all it is. And with anything you do, that's what's important. But for this one, above all, play around with things, give it a try, and make sure you're actually feeling your abs when doing this exercise. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you liked it and you learned something, please smash that like button. It really helps us out. Drop a comment, say what's up, say you liked it. Any questions or comments you have, we're happy to answer. We have a lot of other great how-to videos, so I recommend you check out our how-to playlist. That's the first link in the bio. Second, we also offer online fitness coaching. If that's something that interests you, you want to take your fitness to the next level. We do macronutrient coaching, programming, form evaluation, constant support, oversight. We're here for you if that's something you're interested in. Click the second link, watch the video.